Defending ACC champs, the Florida State Seminoles, taking on the Louisville Cardinals. You're watching the ACC on ESPN, and it's a wide open ACC. Early in conference play, Virginia, the only remaining team that's undefeated in the ACC at 5-0. Louisville would have been 5-0, but suffered a surprising loss at Miami on Saturday. Florida State right behind at 3-1. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Sean McDonough along with Jimmy Dykes over there. Delighted to have you with us as we start off Big Monday with a big doubleheader later tonight, Baylor and Kansas. But, Jimmy, in this one, we get a look at some of the best guards in the ACC, and let's talk about Made of More, brought to you by Guinness.
Yeah, big-time guards on Big Monday in the ACC. MJ Walker, Sean, just phenomenal in terms of a big physical guard, drags guys to the rim, gets to the free throw line a ton, and is a high percentage shooter, about 92% from that free throw line. Carlik Jones, I don't think there's a better ball screen guard in the entire ACC than what this kid can bring to you. Carlik Jones, MJ Walker, hard to guard.
So we're ready to go with about 3,000 fans in attendance in downtown Louisville.
At about 3,000 foot elevation, by the way.
Yeah, we are high above courtside, as the legendary former Celtics announcer Johnny Most used to say. It's Florida State in possession. Wyatt Wilkes is in the starting lineup tonight. Number 31 three-point shooter. They're without Anthony Polite, who will not play tonight with a left shoulder injury. He has shot the three very well. MJ Walker misses the first shot of the game. And the Cardinals in black look to counterattack. Jones and Johnson, that outstanding backcourt. And Jalen Withers has been a double-double machine lately. Double-doubles in 2 of his last 3.
Florida State, hard-nosed, man-to-man defense. They switch 1 through 5. You have to be able to drive gaps tonight if you're Louisville in this game to have some success. Get to the paint, spray that ball for threes.
Johnson missed the first shot of the game for Louisville. He was off his game Saturday at Miami, bothered by a shin injury. Nice bounce there for Florida State. And Balša Koprivica, the 7'1" sophomore from Serbia, scored, and then the response by Samuel Williamson.
You seldom get those against Florida State, and Leonard Hamilton took a quick look back at his bench. This is a Florida State team that has tremendous defensive depth, and Leonard will go to it quick.
Won't play as many as 11. The bench might be a little shorter tonight without Polite. The pull-up jumper from the wing wouldn't go, and the rebound down to Raquan Gray. They do expect to have the talented freshman Scotty Barnes tonight, do the Seminoles. He did not play Saturday in their win against North Carolina. Three-pointer up and good for Raquan Evans. There is Scotty Barnes, dressed tonight.
Sean, he's a phenomenal talent, is Barnes. 6'9", going to be an NBA playmaker at that point guard spot. Kind of hobbled around during shoot-around today, but a big-time talent sitting on that Seminole bench.
Floater for Carlik Jones.
Sean, interesting, Louisville switching everything 1 through 5 in this ball game. Even the dribble handoff action. Normally they're just a ball screen switching team. So far tonight they're switching it all and keeping it packed in on the backside.
Strong to the goal, but Trey Davis could not finish, and now an offensive foul at the other end called on Raquan Gray. His first.
Sean, as big as Gray is, 6'8", 260, he's kind of the backup point guard. And he brings that thing in transition now with some thrust and some burst. And has done a terrific job, this kid has, reworking his body. Last year he carried his mass in his rear end and has really reshaped and worked to get that body going.
Leonard Hamilton sending Tenor and Gom into the game. Malik Osborne goes out. And pressure applied in the backcourt by Florida State.
Yeah, just a 2-2-1 pressure. If you make a mistake, obviously they'll capitalize on it, just slowing you down, and now you've got about 20 on the shot clock to work with.
Jones transfer from Radford, who was the Big South Conference Player of the Year last year. He missed from outside. Open three from the corner is up and good.
You know, Louisville, they got what they deserved Saturday at Miami. They didn't come out defensively hot, and so far in this ball game, 2 times already, slow recovering to three-point shooters.
Wyatt Wilkes, the last bucket. Williamson, one too many passes in the interior for Louisville. So Wilkes starting. He's considered their best outside shooter. He made 5 in a game last year against Notre Dame.
Florida State, a lot of ball screens, spread action, really for both ball clubs. Leonard Hamilton went away from his set plays 5 or 6 years ago. Spread that ball, drive it, nice, very well done. Boy, what a load inside is great, just a load.
And set up on a beautiful feed by M.J. Walker, having the best season of his career as a senior. David Johnson called for the foul, his first.
John, you can't give up paint touches. And Louisville, the first thing they did in practice yesterday was they ran for the paint touches that they allowed against Miami. And if the number one thing on the scouting report is keep Florida State out of the paint and you don't execute it, you don't deserve to win the game.
Free throw made by Gray. They're on a remarkable roll shooting free throws as a team now. Florida State's made 38 of their last 39 from the line. They're off to an 11-4 start here. Playing very well. Wins against NC State and North Carolina in the past week. Held ball. It'll be Louisville ball when we come back. They call themselves the New Bloods, a rising power in college basketball. Home or motorcycle insurance, visit progressive.com. Commissioner John Swafford presented the Seminoles the ACC championship trophy at the ACC tournament in Greensboro, which was called off when the pandemic struck in mid-March last year. And what a shame, Jimmy, because Florida State, as we said heading to the break, has been a rising power in recent years under Leonard Hamilton. I thought they had as good a chance to win the whole thing last year as any team in the country had the NCAA tournament been played. Good steal off the inbounding play there by Wyatt Wilkes. Scotty Barnes, the freshman of the year preseason, the ACC, has come in for Florida State. He wears number 4.
Sean, Florida State, they're the bully of the ACC. And if you can't match their physical strength and play through contact and know you're going to get hit every time you go to the boards, it can be a long night. And Coach Mack yesterday with his guys was spot on about this is more of a fist fight than anything. And this kid is special now at 6'9". He was a power forward throughout his high school career. And Leonard told me yesterday, I went into that recruiting visit and said, look, I'm going to make you my playmaker, put you at the point because that is your future. And boy, is this kid smooth and makes all the plays of that basketball. And just his length on both ends of the floor, really hard to handle.
Good effort there by Barnes to help force the turnover. You know, Leonard said a year ago when he's at Montfort Academy down there in Florida, high school powerhouse, he's banging around the rim, scoring and rebounding in close, but now running the show. And with the pauses, and each of these teams has had a pause due to COVID, fewer games, fewer practices. There's Wyatt Wilkes for 3. And it's a 9-0 run for the Noles. But Leonard Hamilton's still learning about his players, how they fit in, what his rotation should be. He likes the way this one has started, up by 10.
Comfort in the extreme. The Lincoln family of luxury SUVs.
Leonard Hamilton and the Seminoles on the road with a 10-point lead. Leonard on the ballot for induction into the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame up in Springfield, Mass. And Jimmy, to me, that seems to be just a matter of time.
Oh, absolutely. You know, he's 72 years old. We're probably 200 pages into a book of 300 pages about his career. But I think history, we will look back as Carlick Jones finally knocks one down and realize that Leonard Hamilton is one of the all-time great coaches our sport has ever had. And maybe just as important, Sean, he's the bridge between the past minority coaches and the future minority coaches. He touches them all, and there's not a more respected guy in college basketball than Leonard Hamilton.
Carlik Jones, the last bucket for Louisville. And Scotty Barnes, the response at the other end. Out of West Palm Beach, Florida, averaging 11 points per game. He's their second leading scorer, as usual. The scoring is spread around for Florida State because the minutes are divided up.
What you have to do against Louisville's pack defense switching is knock down shots, and that's what Florida State has done. So they're going to have to drag now. Louisville's going to have to drag themselves out into a spot on the floor they normally don't defend, stretched out.
And Barnes, another takeaway for FSU. Florida State 7-2. They had a surprising home loss against UCF. And their conference loss was at Clemson. Tenor Ngom called for the foul for the Noles, and they handed back to the Louisville Cardinals.
You'll see Ngom make a mistake or two a game like that, Sean. This is only a fourth year of basketball. And the guy from Ryerson College, you've seen right there, Florida State, see their pause from COVID, and has that hurt the development of a guy like Ngom?
Sloppy with the ball so far have been the Seminoles, and now Koprivica blocks Dre Davis's shot. The Cardinals have been very sloppy. Second straight game in a row. They have started slowly. Strong move inside, and the bucket for Malik Osborne. In his second year playing for the Noles, his third year in the program. He sat out a year as a transfer from Rice.
You have to earn your shot. And Louisville allowed a face cut right in front of the rim. Osborne takes advantage of it.
David Johnson. The fadeaway wouldn't go. He backed away from the 7-footer Koprivica. Foul called on the drive. It's on Dre Davis, the freshman from Indianapolis, his first foul. Louisville 9-2, 4-1 in conference. Spoke with Chris Mack this morning. Said, "How's the season going?" I said, "Well, if you asked me 48 hours ago, I would have said very well." But he was surprised by that loss at Miami. They've had all kinds of injuries. The Hurricanes had just 7 scholarship players available. Their season interrupted by COVID. There's another 3 for Raekwon Evans.
That's what I'm talking about. Louisville's defense now. You're going to have to come out of your pack. And you're going to have to start pressuring that ball and be there on the catch because Florida State's seen a really big rim.
They're 5 out of 7 from 3. And another block shot. Koprivica and Walker right there underneath. MJ Walker outstanding in that win against the Tar Heels on Saturday. Koprivica short with the one-hander. Taken in by Jalen Withers, the redshirt freshman from Charlotte. And the floater goes for Quinn Slazinski, who hit the deck after making that shot. He's playing with some stitches under an eye. Hit he took in a recent game.
Good job by Slazinski, Sean, to make a play out of the corner with a shot fake and dribble himself into what was really a pretty hard shot from 10 feet.
Deep 3, and that is an air ball. Florida State, which has won the last 3 head-to-head against Louisville. The voice of Malik Williams, team co-captain for the second year in a row. The leader of the Cardinals, unfortunately, has not been able to play so far this year. He had surgery on a broken foot back in November, but they think that he is close, perhaps sometime in February. He's their most experienced player.
And he's really the voice of that Louisville defense. And he's terrific on the ball screen coverage. And this is a completely different Louisville team when he's on the floor. And he's going to have that size around that rim tonight in this ball game. And we talked about Florida State will bully you. So far they've done it. How about their shooting numbers, Sean? The last 3 ball games, 59% from three-point line is Florida State combined.
Yeah, that includes the 5 out of 8 tonight from beyond the arc. David Johnson, the scorer for Louisville. There's Malik Williams, the leader. There's a foul on the takeaway. Malik Williams, a leader off the floor as well, as you saw. He helped organize that peaceful racial justice march in late September. The Cardinals basketball team led a voter registration drive in the west end of Louisville on October 3rd.
Sean, you mentioned Florida State 5 out of 8 from the three-point line. And Louisville now is going to have to get hotter with their ball pressure. The gaps are going to be a little bigger because of it. Florida State's going to have to drive those gaps now and keep spraying that ball around.
Pull up wouldn't go for Raekwon Gray. Kept alive for a moment by Malik Osborne, but here's David Johnson, sophomore from right here in Louisville out of Trinity High School. And that one was blocked by Koprivica. And then a foul called as Florida State's Malik Osborne picked up his first.
Koprivica, 5 and white, Sean, is such a good defender. There's no concern at all switching 1 through 5 with him. He's a 7-1 guy that gets down low, and now this is a unique out-of-bounds under defense by Florida State. Go back it out and see it's a 1-3-1 alignment. Look at all 5 defenders actually facing the basketball. And normally we have our rear ends to that baseline and have our head on a swivel, but Florida State, just in the last 4 or 5 years, they've thrown this defensive look on out-of-bounds under. And from that 1-3-1, they'll go man-to-man or sometimes trap. Good job of getting it out of the trap.
Florida State averaging 5 block shots per game, leading the ACC. They have 4 already tonight. Shot clock down to 7. Josh Nickelberry just off the bench. Shot clock at 2, so he heaves one. And it's a shot clock violation.
Sean, it all started again with Koprivica's ability to get his knees bent, spread out wide, and defend a point guard.
He has certainly been a factor disrupting this Louisville offense nearly midway through the half, and the Cardinals are just 11 points. It was 2 victories head-to-head last year for Florida State against Louisville, both by double digits. Koprivica handed it off, and the lay-in for Raekwon Gray.
Just too much height, man. It's a 7-1 guy, got you pinned on the high side. The backside help isn't there. Florida State getting anything they want, and there's not a hotter team offensively over the last 2.5 ball games than the Seminoles right now.
They averaged 92 points per game in their wins last week against NC State and North Carolina. Good catch by Koprivica, missed a short one and the tip wouldn't go, and then he's called for the foul as he knocked down Josh Nickelberry. First foul on Koprivica. Super Tuesday tomorrow, because it's Tuesday. It'll be on the ESPN and the app. Number 6 Tennessee in Gainesville to take on the Florida Gators at 7, and then Duke and Pittsburgh at the Peterson Events Center. Duke fell out of the top 25 in the Associated Press today. First time since 2016 the Blue Devils haven't been ranked in the AP poll.
How about the first time since 1961 that North Carolina, Duke, and Kentucky not ranked in the AP poll? That Tennessee team.
That was a long time ago. I wasn't born. That's how long ago that was.
You weren't born yet, huh?
Close.
Mentioned Tennessee in that Super Tuesday game tomorrow night, Sean. That is a well-built team, man. Defensively, versatile, deep. A tremendous culture. I always talk about the best 2 cultures I see right now, Gonzaga and Tennessee, in terms of how they go about their day. Florida State's got a good one too now.
Tough floater wouldn't go for Carlik Jones. Under 9 to go in the half. Florida State with another 3, their 6th of the half. This one from Scotty Barnes.
Well, they all shoot a good ball. You go back and look at Barnes's form, it's going to look just like anyone else on that Florida State team. It is smooth, it's repeatable, it's one stroke with it.
He hadn't shot it particularly well coming in. 5 for 19 for the year was Barnes prior to tonight. That's 26%.
That's his area development, 4 and white, and also working off the ball screen action. That's the next thing that's going to determine how good of a pro he will be.
Nickelberry way off from 3-point range. He's a 26% 3-point shooter himself. Barnes feeling it and missed the corner 3.
And where's the offense for Louisville if it's not Carlik Jones working off of a ball screen? Chris Mack probably asking the same question to himself.
The fake got Jones an open look, but he missed it. And for as hot as Florida State is, Louisville ice cold shooting the ball. They were 3 for 20 from 3 in that loss at Miami on Saturday.
Well, Florida State doing a good job, Sean. We can see it from where we are. Look how high they are beyond that three-point line. Able to have momentum as drivers, able to step into the three-point shot. The spacing is beautiful for Florida State in this game.
Odd looking little bounce into that shot by Cedar Calhoun, the junior. But he made it for his first bucket of the night. He's a junior college transfer from Missouri West Plains. Leonard Hamilton praising him in our chat last night for Calhoun's defense. And the floater goes for Samuel Williamson. They had missed their last 6 shots from the floor prior to that make from the sophomore from Rockwall, Texas. Calhoun again, that's a 3. He hasn't given them a lot of offense yet. Leonard Hamilton said he's one of those players. He's still trying to figure out where he fits in, but he made 183 threes the last 2 years in junior college.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy that can just break off and go get you a basket. Louisville's defense, Sean, they are so well schooled in the pack line defense, having a foot inside that lane even on the backside of the play. So what it's creating in this ball game early is some long closeouts against a hot shooting club. Boom, there's the pack line help. It's packed inside tight. You don't recover quick enough. Bottom of the net. Well done by the Seminoles.
Really wasn't Chip or Joanna.
They're asking the same question here, by the way.
How do you like our broadcast position? If we keep panning down for a half hour, you'll see the court.
I've never worked with a play-by-play guy in basketball who uses binoculars.
I have my binoculars, which are still in my bag from football season. I usually don't bring them to a basketball game because we're courtside, but for COVID reasons, we are up in section 307. Good thing is we have plenty of room to spread out. It is hard to identify some of the players from up here.
What we can see is the ball going through the net on a regular basis for Florida State. Their shooting numbers are incredible, Sean, what they've done. The last 2 games coming in this one, it just continues. They're moving the ball. They're getting good looks, which is equating to a good percentage. And just bringing the smoke right now, up 32-13.
7 for 11 from three-point range tonight. Those are the numbers the last 2 games. How about 1 missed free throw? It was by M.J. Walker, who's one of the best free throw shooters in the country. He made 23 in a row before his miss against North Carolina and Tallahassee.
Sean, what's incredible about those numbers, only twice in the last 5 years in Division I has a team gone with those kind of numbers in back-to-back games. The last team to do it, Florida State.
There's another 3 for Raekwon Evans. He had his career high of 24 against NC State last Wednesday. David Johnson the response. That's a 3-pointer for Louisville. That shin doesn't seem to be bothering him tonight. Boy, 2 Louisville players there colliding, each with a chance to save the ball. Neither did, to the dismay of Chris Mack. Even with a mask, you can tell he's not a happy man.
No, again, another coach tonight that you feel sorry for the mask.
I asked him today, you know, because it is quiet in here, are you conscious of what you said? Because people can hear it. And he said, well, I've never been a big cursor.
What, and the definition of big would be what?
Frequent.
Frequent. That's frequent right there, isn't it?
It sure is. Raekwon Gray. That's a corner 2 in Florida State. You thought they can't keep shooting like this. Well, yes, they can. They have 37 points with 5 minutes to go in the half. And meanwhile, Louisville just continues to throw it away. That was Samuel Williamson. There's 6 turnover of the night for the Cardinals.
I told Leonard today, I said, Coach, I think you're the best team in the ACC. I know you're the deepest. I know the dudes you lost, Trent Forrest, Patrick Williams, Devin Vassell, those guys, they're pros now. But when you watch Florida State play on both ends of the floor, they come at you with a defensive depth and a purpose that's uncommon. And offensively, again, it's a simple offense. They move that ball, and they keep that thing spread. They trust each other, and that middle ball screen roll action, Florida State's as good as anybody in this conference doing it.
Malik Osborne the bucket, Samuel Williamson the foul. It continues to be all Seminoles here in the first half.
I am a big fan of NcaaAF. This is a kid that started last year on a team that was a potential Final Four team. And then the following year, he goes to the bench, but he just kind of sums up the Seminoles. There's no ego, there's no agenda. There's what do I need to do to help us win ball games, and that's exactly who this dude is. I'm a big fan of 10 and 1.
Well, you have to be that way to play on their team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leonard Hamilton tells you if you care about your minutes, you're going to complain about a lack thereof. This is not going to be the right place for you. And it's fun to watch unselfish team basketball. They play hard at both ends. Couple of chances, and finally it goes for Jalen Withers. Chris Mack, talking to him today, said he really appreciates this Florida State team and program, how hard they play at both ends. Dre Davis called for the foul for Coach Mack in his 3rd year here at Louisville after a very successful 9-year run at his alma mater Xavier, where he took the Musketeers to the NCAA tournament. In 8 of those 9 seasons, Dre Davis has fouled his 2nd.
Well, I know this about Chris Mack. I've been around him long enough to know there's a standard that he will not drop, and that's, are you talking on the defensive end of the floor, and are you playing as hard as you can possibly play? They did not do that at Miami, and so far in this one, we're seeing a little bit of the same stuff.
Offensive foul called on MJ Walker, well guarded there by Jalen Withers.
That middle ball screen action, man, they're so strong and physical. You can get a couple of charges a day on them, but man,
that's pretty blue blood to me, Jimmy Dykes.
Coach, you're exactly right. And this, it's a Florida State program. As hot as they are offensively, they're just as hot defensively, and they have an accountability, Sean, amongst them. You can kind of hear through the broadcast sometimes when they make a defensive mistake, they are on each other in the right way. If you don't have a couple of dudes that will go to the coach and say, hey, he's killing us defensively, get him out, then you're not a great defensive team, and the Seminoles are.
Jalen Withers inside. Chris Mack raving about Withers when we talked this morning, said his talent level is ridiculous. Had to play a little out of position because of that injury to Malik Williams. They thought Withers would play the 4. He's mostly been a 5, and from time to time he's had trouble rebounding against those bigger people.
Yeah, he had 18 and 11 at Miami and just got pushed and shoved around the first 10 minutes and was no factor.
Chris Mack said this morning the first 4 minutes he gave up 5 offensive rebounds in his area. Louisville trying to make a little run here. David Johnson the bucket. Chris Mack said, I took him out. I didn't put him back in until under 4 minutes to go in the first half. He still wound up with a double-double.
Now Louisville's having so much trouble scoring against that set defense. They're going to have to get their defense involved in this game and score off of it.
Backcourt violation. The crowd gathering group, I guess you'd call it here, into it for the first time tonight. I think those Louisville players might have seen the graphic. Biggest home deficit in the last 25 years. At halftime, 20 points against Charlotte, February of 2001. They lost that game to the Cardinals by 34. They're only down by 18 now. 2.5 to go. They're on a 6-0 run, trying to extend it, tighten it up on the way to the locker room. And it's another bucket inside for Jalen Withers.
Really well done. It kind of bluffed the ball screen and got that ball screen defender to bite on the basketball, and they just slipped out of it on the backside. Really well executed by Louisville.
And Carleigh Jones the assist. Much better movement of the ball and people at the offensive end lately for Louisville. Wilkes trying to quiet the crowd. Man, banks it home.
Tough shot, huh? Louisville's defense was good. The shot was better.
Wyatt Wilkes, 5th-year senior from Orlando, Winter Park High School. Withers runs down the rebound in the corner. Out of bounds, last touched by FSU.
That's not the shot that Johnson needs to be shooting when you're down like this much. Here's this ball screen, the bluff, boom, and it's just a slip. That's just a good change within the basketball game by Chris Mack. Not getting a lot of stuff off the initial ball screen, so he's going to bluff the ball screen and slip out of it.
Lynn Slazinski wide open, missed the 3. Jones wide open, missed the three, and on the offensive glass, David Johnson, the guard who does give them 5.5 rebounds a game. At 6'5", 210, he has 9 points.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens in a ball game when the energy level picks up. Exactly what's done for Louisville over the last couple minutes.
Wyatt Wiltz missed a three.
Go.
Johnson the rebound. They have a man wide open. Dre Davis, who had trouble gathering it in. Wow, wide open again. And a bucket by Jalen Withers. And right when we were talking about the biggest halftime deficit they faced in the last quarter century at home, they're making a game of it.
Yeah, really good response by Chris Mack and his guys. And I'm sure the energy, the effort, the toughness, the how hard are we going to play stuff finally came into play in that huddle. And they've gotten some good stuff off of their ball screen, middle slip action. Not so much setting the ball screen, but they have caused Florida State problems now. 2 of the last 3 possessions by a bluff middle ball screen, fast slip, finding the score at the rim.
Tip off the weekend with the first game of our NBA Friday doubleheader. That's the Celtics and the Sixers. Great rivalry, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Saturday afternoon, Duke and Louisville highlight a full day of hoops across all of the ESPN networks. And Saturday night on ESPN Plus, UFC 257. Conor McGregor is back, squaring off against Dustin Poirier, the #2 lightweight contender in the main event. What a weekend. Friday and Saturday, the big lineup. NBA, college hoops, UFC. Who do you like in that one, McGregor or Poirier? I know you're a big UFC fan.
Yeah, I'm huge. I'm going to go with Poirier just because I think it's a cool name. You know, the game coming up after ours, Baylor is one of those teams right now that they are good in an empty gym. Well, Alabama's like that out of the SEC.
That would be helpful to play against nobody.
Absolutely it is. But even if it was a normal year, Sean, those guys, they bring energy all the time. And Louisville's energy has finally risen up like you're supposed to play the game.
And they hampered the drive by Gray. Florida State kept it. Shot clock running out. Barnes the miss.
Had a chance to cut this thing to 12 going into the half, and Louisville couldn't secure that offensive rebound.
Shot clock is off. It's a 12-2 run by Louisville. 8 of those 12 points from Jalen Withers.
See, Barnes going to work off this high butt screen. No, they're going to Spain action, screen the screener into it, see if he can go to work. Good find.
Wide open. MJ Walker missed the three. Time for a 3/4 court heave. And it would not go. But a 12-2 run for Louisville to end the half. Gets the Cardinals back within striking distance. Still down 42-28 at the half. Let's send you back to the studio now. Here's the halftime report. From the KFC Yum Center on the banks of the Ohio River in downtown Louisville. Cardinals, once down by 24 points, scratched back to make it a 14-point game at the half. First half stats brought to you by Ally, and the shooting numbers, Jimmy Dykes, continue to be eye-popping for Florida State.
Yeah, they did it all. Florida State did 11 assists on their 16 makes. They got things around the rim. They made open threes. They made guarded threes. Phenomenal offensive performance again by Florida State. So now back-to-back games plus another half. You combine those shooting numbers, Sean, it rings up to be a score of 206. 53 from the field, 53 from the three, and 100 from the free throw line. A coach will accept 180. They're at 206 right now with those combined averages.
I was having trouble figuring out where to look. The camera's here. On TV, now for me, you're over there. But on TV, you're on the other side. Over there.
We'll have this by a minute or two to go.
You did a great job, though, whatever you said. I was just so concerned with where I should be looking. The camera, because if I look at you, it looks like I'm looking away from you. When I work with Billis, I do look in the opposite direction, but I do want to look directly at you while you're speaking. MJ Walker, nice offense to get the second half started for Florida State. He's averaging 16 a game. His career high was last year at just over 10 per game. Walker, his first bucket of the night. Count the bucket for Carlik Jones and a chance for a three-point play.
Yeah, so Louisville had some success to close out the second half by confusing the switch. So now what does Chris Mack do out of the timeout or the locker room? He comes in and says, no ball screen. Just let my guy go to work and see if we can get something happening off that initial action.
Carlik Jones, like Chris Mack, hails from Cincinnati, missed the free throw, and wound up in the hands of M.J. Walker. Chris Mack said this morning that did help when they were trying to recruit Carlik Jones as a grad transfer from Radford. Coach Mack knew a lot of the people who coached Carlik Jones in youth basketball growing up in Cincinnati, so they had an instant connection. Out of bounds, it'll be FSU ball with 10 to shoot. Big South Player of the Year is the only player in the country last year to average 20 or more points per game with 5+ rebounds and 5+ assists. And that's been done only 16 times in Division I since 1996.
There's our guy.
Right on cue. Carlik lays it in. Raekwon Evans trying to defend. Louisville once down 40-16 with about 4.5 to go in the first half. Now within 12.
Sean, one of the things I admire the most from Carlik Jones coming from Radford, he is so appreciative of all the stuff that he gets at a level like Louisville. Doesn't take one day for granted in Florida State again. If it's a play where there's a collision involved or going through your chin or through your chest, Florida State's going to win that 9 out of 10 times. And Carlik Jones just does a good job of extending the defense. He plays really well off of 2 feet, even in the transition plays.
Well, Raekwon Gray, as you were saying, just powered to the bucket.
Yeah.
Jalen Withers his first foul, and that's 3 for Raekwon Gray, redshirt junior from Fort Lauderdale, who has 10 tonight of his career high 19 Saturday in the win against North Carolina. He also had 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 steals against the Heels. David Johnson rattled home with 3. He has 12 to lead Louisville. And the crowd coming to life here at the Yum Center, about 3,000. Louisville working in conjunction with government officials in this area to set the capacity about 15% of the arena. Now it's 11th year as home of Louisville basketball.
Good gracious. How good is that guy? Talking about Raekwon Gray. You put him in a ball screen, he steps out and knocks down a 3, and when he turns the corner on a ball screen like he did against North Carolina, it's almost unguardable.
Johnson to miss. Dre Davis kept it alive. He apparently was not the last to touch.
I don't know if it's a 2 or a 3, but that's clearly a 2. But man, this guy, his ability to elevate and knock down 3s off of a ball screen with 265 pounds behind him, rare.
Nice steal by Raekwon Evans. Walker rescued it along the end line.
You know, Walker didn't have a basket in the first half, Sean, but he had 5 assists, ties his career high. Just big guard, can beat you in a lot of ways. Good defense that time by
Dre Davis.
Yeah, Dre Davis.
See, when we're 6 miles above the court, it helps when somebody has a unique hairstyle like Davis. A little bit of a hint to identify him from the 300 level of this fine arena. M.J. Walker's foul, his second.
As good as Davis was out of high school, he was not a spoiled kid. Was coached by his dad, so wasn't in a high school program, Sean, where every play was run through him. He got all the touches that he wanted. I mean, that's a foundation piece right there.
His dad is unique then. If
his dad is unique. Absolutely, his dad is unique. We need more of them like that because this kid's not spoiled at all.
His dad was an assistant coach at Lawrence Central, where Dre played his high school ball. Now his dad's in his first year as the head coach at Warren Central in Indianapolis, DeAndre Davis, senior.
Man, cannot have empty possessions. When you're down 49-35 and you don't get a shot, it's just an empty possession. And you can have no empty possessions this half if you're Chris Mack, and he knows it.
8 Louisville turnovers. Guard Calhoun passed it off. Still 12 to shoot. Wyatt Wilkes had 8 in the first half. He missed the floater. David Johnson. Slazinski tried to lean in for some contact, didn't get a call, but wound up with it back. Johnson into the lane and gets fouled.
When Johnson is at the point guard spot, that's where he was. He gets very aggressive with that right-hand drive. And Sean, he's right and righter. And it's hard to get him to that left paw. He's just so determined and so low and so strong. When he's up top, he's thinking drive right, drive right, drive right, and just does not give up on the play. Does a good job of going right through the contact, getting himself to that line.
Sadar Calhoun to foul his first. Johnson missed the first free throw. Johnson is 78.6 from the line. Saw Scotty Barnes has returned. 1 out of 2 for David Johnson. Second team preseason All ACC in the conference media poll. Louisville was picked to finish 5th in the preseason ACC poll. Florida State 3rd behind Virginia and Duke.
Louisville doing a better job this half so far being physical on their switch and not giving airspace on the switch.
Barnes leaned into Johnson, well short with a shot out of bounds. To Louisville, Doug Schaus, Keith Kimball, Kip Kissinger, the officials here tonight.
Sean, the first half, Louisville switching 1 through 5 like they are now, but when they were switching, they were giving airspace to Florida State. That's not happening now in this second half. When they switch now, they are chest to chest taking away that air.
Carly Jones all the way down the edge of the lane to the bucket. 11 for Jones.
Such a magician in the middle third of the floor with a ball screen, without a ball screen, and the energy level again for Louisville comes up.
Jones now scored in double figures in all 11 games he's played for Louisville, and in 34 in a row dating back to last season at Radford.
Don't foul, just sit down and guard. Don't reach, don't lunge, sit down and guard.
They've made a game of it with a long way to go, more than 15 and a half minutes. Tough luck there for Raekwon Gray, as that one looked like it was going to stay in and popped out.
All the action for Louisville is to set up a drive opportunity.
Johnson, a step back three. Ripped down by Raekwon Gray. They go inside, and Malik Osborne will shoot 2 after a timeout. Foul on David Johnson. Said earlier about Leonard Hamilton. Hits home with all of us who know him. And I think the one thing we've learned, Jimmy, the last year since we commemorated Dr. King on his special day 1 year ago, we have a long way to go in this country when it comes to racial issues, equality, social justice.
Yeah, my favorite Martin Luther King quote, you heard a little bit there in the package. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. Man, that is 100% truth in that statement.
Osborne makes 2 free throws. As a team, they've made 41 of their last 42 from the line. Trying to hold off this Louisville surge. It's a 13-point game as we approach 15 minutes to go on the first big Monday of the season. Baylor, number 2 in the country, and number 9 Kansas coming up next from Waco.
Kansas is going to have a shot in that ball game. Jalen Wilson can't have a ball game where he has 0 free throw attempts like he did last week at Oklahoma State. That dude's got to drive the ball tonight and get some dirty baskets on the road. Not easy to do against Baylor, but you got to do it if you're going to win.
Josh Nickelberry intercepted the pass for Louisville, and that's a travel on Carlik Jones. Osborne looked like he might have been banged up a little bit. I think he's going to be fine in a few minutes. But not in the short term.
Not what you want. Hard to speed Florida State up, Sean. Physical, strong. They own their spot on the catch. Difficult to do.
Can I ask you a question about Baylor and Kansas because it's been bothering me since the first half.
Okay.
When we got Jay Billis's tease, I guess you'd call it, with Chip and Joanna. Yeah, he talked about one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country, one of the best one of the best defensive teams in the country. Is Baylor both of those? Was he talking about one?
Yeah, Baylor's the real deal on both those things.
But was he talking about, or was Kansas one of them and Baylor the other? Was Kansas both of them or Baylor both of them? I still don't understand.
We didn't get that edited in time, did we?
No, well, bring back Holly Rowe on those Big 12 cut-ins on Big Monday. That's what I say.
Well, Baylor can do it at all on both ends. Their guard play, Sean, is as good, if not the best in the country, on both ends of the floor. Shooting the three ball, defending the three ball. Kansas has good guard play as well, but again, if you're going to win on the road in a big-time ball game like that, Kansas can't shoot their way to a win tonight. They've got to get to the free throw line, drive it, and get some tough baskets.
Carly Jones called for second foul. And a very rare miss from the line for Florida State. 14 minutes to go. The Noles up by 14. Trying to win their third in a row and their fourth in their last 5. This is just the second road game of the season for Florida State. They lost at Clemson. Their only other game away from Tallahassee. They were supposed to play a couple of road games in early January, but that's when they had that 3-game pause due to COVID issues.
Louisville still trying to confuse the switch of Florida State in that middle ball screen action. They're twisting a little bit. They're screening and re-screening. They're bluffing the screen, just playing a cat and mouse game right now in the middle part of the floor.
Wyatt Wilkes returns.
You know who his grandfather is, right? Wyatt Wilkes? Glenn Wilkes, the great Glenn Wilkes, the grandfather of basketball in Florida. Over 500 wins at Stetson.
In the College Basketball Hall of Fame, Carlik Jones has it pop out. There you go. Nice work on the offensive glass by Jalen Withers. He has 10. Good rebounder. He's their leading rebounder, more than 7 per game. But right away, Wilkes responds with a 3.
Probably shoots it as well as anybody day after day after day for Florida State.
11 tonight, matching his season high at 11 in their win against Georgia Tech. 4th game of the year. Very strong by David Johnson.
Chris Mack moves his ball screen, Sean, over to the slot in that 45-degree angle. Why is that so effective? Because now you've got a big vision of the rim going to your right or to your left. A very determined drive by 13 in black. Nice uniforms, by the way. Chris Mack doing a really good job of adjusting his offense against a physical Florida State defense in this game.
Of course, that first half number came up late in the half when they started to find the mark. Shooting much better for Louisville here in the second half, but still down by 13 with 13 minutes to go. MJ Walker. Wyatt Wilkes for 3. That was deflected. He just fired an air ball.
Well, Wilkes, is better on the catch and shoot than off the bounce and shoot. If I know it, he needs to remember.
They called a foul there in the follow-up activity on Malik Osborne. His second. And the team's 4th.
It's been David Johnson and Carlik Jones offensively for Louisville. Chris Mack's not going to go away from it.
Johnson has 15 to lead Louisville. Williamson, nice little pull-up from about 10 feet.
Good decision by Carlik Jones. You know, he's not the quickest guy, number 1 in black, but his eyes set up his speed because he sees it before anyone else. Really good drive.
MJ Walker, they left him alone and he missed the 3. Kept alive by Wilkes. And that's a season high, 13 now for Wyatt Wilkes.
And 2 defensive breakdowns, Sean. You're exactly right. Why would you leave a shooter off of a dive guy to the basket and then you don't clean up the backside?
You never know night to night who it's going to be for Florida State. Wilkes didn't score at all Saturday against North Carolina. In the lane, Jones hit on the arm, bit of a late whistle, but a foul called nonetheless. It's on Calhoun, his second. When we come back, we'll take a look around the Atlantic Coast Conference. First time they've both been unranked in the same week since 1982. Wow. Virginia, only undefeated team in conference play. They're the highest ranked team in the AP poll out there. They're number 13. And how about Justin Champagnie of Pitt, the only player in the country in D1 averaging 18 plus points and 12 or more rebounds. For a Pitt team off to an excellent start. They're 3-1 in league play and 7-2 overall. And they have a big one tomorrow night at home against Duke right here on ESPN.
Tony Bennett's offense is starting to come on. They hung 85 on Clemson. Going into that game, Sean, Clemson was the #1 defensive team in the country. You look at that front line that Tony's got to work with Sam Hauser, Trey Murphy, Jay Huff, all shooting between 37 and 52% from three. Watch out for Virginia again. It's about this time last year they were 3-3 in the ACC, won 12 of their last 14. They could do it again this year.
Here comes some pressure now for Louisville, and they get a 5 count after the free throws by Carlik Jones got them within 11 points.
Yeah, so as soon as you touch it out of bounds, that clock for the officials starts.
So can they get it to single digits?
Good job.
Here's a great chance to do it, and the 3 wouldn't fall. Florida State foul on the rebounding activity.
Sean, I said good job because Louisville, against that 1-3-1 out of bounds under defense of Florida State, they will come trap you hard, trap the breath out of you on that first pass. And a good job to find the backside of the play for a wide open 3. Just didn't drop.
Raekwon Evans called for his first foul. The team 6, so they'll be over the limit on the next one. Beautiful out of bounds play, the dunk for Jalen Withers. And they're back within single digits for the first time since Louisville trailed 14-7 with 14:51 remaining in the first half.
Sean, that is the one risk you run when you use a 1-3-1 out of bounds under defense. You are ball watching at all 5 spots, and a guy can slip in from behind. And a big basket by Withers and Louisville right back in this game.
With a long way to go. Koprivica, meanwhile, was called for his 3rd foul. 11.5 remaining. Louisville, once down by 24, is within 8. MJ Walker. Looked like he could lay it in, try to dump it off. Instead, it leads to a run out for Louisville, and then Carlik Jones handed it back. Nice pass, and Koprivica, the dunk.
Yeah, very, very patient. Does recognize the mismatch. Carlik Jones at 6'1", caught up with a 7'1" guy. Just no way you can be that physical and hold him off.
Williamson not on the same page with Johnson. He thought Johnson was going to continue to cut toward the hoop. He stopped, and they turned it over.
Watch Koprivica just dive out of the ball screen, just goes to work. And Carlik Jones initially gets caught on the backside. He tries the front, can't take away the height advantage. Well done by Florida State.
Nice pass by MJ Walker. 7 assists tonight.
Yeah, career high, right?
Calhoun. Wow, is that an offensive foul? It's called on Calhoun. Ladar's 3rd. It didn't look like much contact from up here, but I guess enough to warrant the call.
Yeah, just enough on the right shoulder, boom, to clip the right shoulder. A really good job of hanging there and taking it by Williamson. Where's the offense again? Does Chris Mack go to a ball screen? Does he keep the floor spread and let Carlik Jones initiate it? Can he get Johnson on the right-hand drive?
Johnson stopped by the much taller Koprivica, and the 7-footer got in the passing lane and now drives to the bucket. Wow. Missed the finger roll, but follows with the dunk.
How good is that? Sean, your description is right. Denying a 7'1" guy out on the wing was Koprivica. If you can't guard your guy, deny your guy, guard your gap, you can't play for Florida State.
Williamson passed up a corner 3. Nickelberry dumped it down to Withers. This time Williamson shoots the open three and misses. And Calhoun stepped in front of him to pick up the rebound off the floor. Koprivica, the one-handed pass into Raekwon Evans for 15 points now for the senior from Billings, Montana. Raekwon's a Native American, proud member of the Crow tribe. Nickelberry wide right from three-point range, and then Williamson a little too frisky going for the offensive rebound.
Watch Koprivica, Sean, just 2 possessions ago, guarding a point guard and then denying the gap, bam, and runs through the pass. And this guy is 7'1", brings it off 4 bounces, avoids the charge, and then follows it up. I asked Leonard last night, how tough is Koprivica? And he said, you know, he's learning to be tough. And well, this is a guy that is a handful, a young player that's just getting better and better and better.
As Florida State players typically do under Coach Hamilton. Koprivica, beautiful pass again, and the easy bucket for Scotty Barnes. And just as Louisville fought to get it within single digits, here's an 8-0 run for Florida State.
And how good has 5 in white been? Talking about Koprivica. We've seen it defensively. We've seen him diving out of ball screens, posting up, making passes.
Time for the assist of the game, brought to you by State Farm.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's going to involve number 5 in white. He has been tremendous. Not afraid of contact, and just right now just whipping the mismatch as a passer, as a scorer, as a screener. Very physical game by the 7'1" kid.
Scotty Barnes just called for his first foul for Florida State. The Noles over the limit. So Carleague Jones at the free throw line. So 1-1, he makes the first. He's an 84% free throw shooter. Those guys who seemingly does everything well.
And the only guy in the top 20 in the ACC right now, and top 20 in scoring, rebounding, and assists. Just a complete college guard is what he is.
Now the 25 on the midseason watch list for the Wooden Award presented by Wendy's.
Think the press will come here if this goes in? Yeah, we'll never know.
Good ball movement leads to a 3 for Osborne, and Koprivica good inside position. He got shoved in the back. J.J. Traynor hasn't played much tonight. Called for his first foul. He's a freshman from Bardstown, Kentucky. He had 806 rebounds in high school.
Man,
that's a lot.
He already played on a team that couldn't shoot. A lot of opportunity. Koprivica has dominated this game in the last 3.5, 4 minutes to hold off this Louisville push.
You know, we talk about the improvement. Out of bounds, it'll be Florida State ball. He's one of those guys, and you know, Leonard Hamilton talks about roles change year to year. Vassell goes into the NBA draft, pick number 11. Patrick Williams picked number 4. You lose Trent Forrest. He signed a 2-way with the Utah Jazz. Other guys have to step into more prominent roles. And Koprivica is one of those guys who last year you noticed him, but not like this.
Yeah, and you know, he had a broken bone in his back last year and missed some time that really slowed his development, but just the way he moves, so good with both hands.
Tried to screen and roll there. They didn't give it to him. Shot clock expiring, and there's a dunk by Malik Osborne.
Are you kidding me? On the whole city of Louisville. My goodness.
Jones all the way to the bucket. Missed with the left, but got fouled.
Talking the first half, one of my favorite guys in college basketball, Malik Osborne, was a starter last year on a potential Final Four team. Coach says, I need you to come off the bench for me this year, and he says, yes, sir, whatever you need me to do. What does he do? Ball fake, sell it, one dribble, a big punch. Well done, Malik Osborne. Bam!
Baylor Bears with eyes on a national title, number 2 in the country behind Gonzaga, and a big one from Waco coming up next. with Jay Billis and Dan Shulman. Butler and Teague combining for 31 points per game.
Sean, that's a real team, and there's no weakness with Baylor. They get it done on both ends. They dominate the three-point line offensively and defensively, and they are a legitimate Final Four national title contender. I'll say this about Florida State. I don't think they can win the national title. They're the kind of team that can keep a team like Baylor from winning it in that Elite Eight game because of how physical they are, how deep they are, and now how well they're shooting the basketball. This will not be an easy out in that NCAA tournament, talking about the Seminoles.
Is it too early for bracketology? Because Joey Brackets does have both of these two teams in the field. The Jimmy Jet is warming up.
Well, that's your way to transition to the Jimmy's Jet. 1
out of 2 for Carly Jones. By the way, the foul right before the commercial break was the 4th on Balsha Popovica. Popovica on the bench with those 4 fouls. First player in the game to be 1 away from disqualification. MJ Walker got Jones in the air, then got fouled in the reach-in.
Raekwon Gray is Draymond Green, number 1 in white. You can post him up. You can put him at the point and work off of ball screens. You just move this guy all around the floor, and Leonard Hamilton does it. He'll find the mismatch, and 1 in white's going to win that battle.
Trey Davis called for his 3rd foul. The next one will put the Cards over the limit here in the second half. 7:15 to go.
That's good action.
And then Osborne missed the shorty. The 10-1 run for Florida State. Osborne an offensive rebound. Then his pass a little too hot to handle. Trey Davis kicked it out. Quinn Slazinski short-armed it from close range. Sophomore from Houston, Texas. Played only 44 minutes all last year. Been much more of a presence for Coach Mack this season.
Sean, throughout the game, I have felt like Florida State can score from all 5 spots, and Louisville's kind of a two spots, maybe 2.5. Here's my guy.
Raekwon Gray. I saw some pictures that our crew had on the monitor before the game. Are you comparing him to Zion Williamson?
No, I said I don't think we should show that.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know why they had the picture.
That's why we called it off.
Side by side.
The body and the ball skill, I think, is what's unique about Zion and this kid. But no, that's why we called it off.
Okay.
I'm just impressed you were watching all that stuff an hour before the game.
Well, can't see anything else from up here, so I might as well just look at our monitor.
You over your altitude sickness?
I'm really not.
Got you again on the ball screen.
Walker inside, and Osborne fouled. I believe it was David Johnson. No, it wasn't. It was Samuel Williamson, his 3rd.
Malik Osborne can play the 5 or the 4. So you got different guys that can come up and set it and dive out of it. And again, all you're doing, Florida State, is confusing the switch of Louisville. You come up, you look like you're going to set it, you quickly dive out of it, the switch gets confused, you end up with a ball at the rim.
The foul was on Johnson. They corrected it. His 3rd. But both teams over the limit. 1 shot here for Malik Osborne. And the excellence from the line continues for Florida State. 12 for Osborne. He had 10 off the bench in just 15 minutes Saturday against North Carolina. 3 Noles now in double figures, including the season high 13 for Wyatt Wilk. Slazinski barely grazed the rim from the corner. Osborne another rebound.
Man, when your job is a shooter, you got to make shots. And that's what he's on the floor for. What a methodical job of Florida State again. Their offense is at a whole nother level now, Sean, for 3 full games.
They averaged 92 and change the last 92.5. And they may threaten 90 again tonight with 5 minutes to go. 72 already on the board. And then a foul on Barnes. He was on the floor, couldn't get out of the way. Second foul on Barnes. There'll be a 2-shot opportunity for the Cards at the other end. Was it time for the Jet, the Jimmy Jet, where you tell us who you have from the ACC in the tournament, in the boarding area? I remember looking at the Jet before the game.
Here it is.
High altitude sickness has taken over.
Well, it's an unusual year for the ACC. We're not putting anybody on the plane yet, but if we would tonight because of the
on
COVID.
The plane means in the tournament?
In the tournament.
Okay.
So in the COVID pandemic times that we are, you board the plane from the back of the plane first. Duke, North Carolina, that's where you would go. That's unusual.
Back of the plane.
Back of the plane.
They're under consideration.
Yeah, well,
or you have them in the tournament, but just barely.
Just barely. So they're sitting back there by the blue water in a crowded seat. You've never been there, Sean. You don't know anything about it. Up there and coach the 2 Virginia schools, Florida State, Louisville, Clemson. I don't see anyone yet in the ACC climbing up there in the first class. Louisville and Florida State, all those teams are really good. If there's one team that could do it, maybe Virginia, the way they looked the other day against Clemson. But I think this is going to be a year where the ACC doesn't have a top 1, 2, or 3 seed. And since we have started seeding the NCAA tournament, that has never happened. Kind of an unusual off year for the ACC.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of these teams, perhaps Virginia, makes a run.
Okay.
And gets in a top 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. Virginia's offense really has come on the last 2 games, 85 and 80 points.
Just go by what a team looks like. That team right there on our monitor, that's a top 3 seed.
And Syracuse and Pittsburgh stand by, waiting at the gate, hoping to get called.
They haven't been cleared through security yet.
Okay. Here's the wooden watch brought to you by Wendy's. A lot of alliteration there. And there are 25 midseason candidates from all around the country. These 5 from the ACC, including Carlik Jones.
Talk about Hauser's ability to shoot that ball for Tony Bennett. If Duke's going to make a run, Hurt's got to continue to put up big numbers night after night. This is a good Louisville team that Florida State's putting it to right now. That's how good Florida State is and has been over the last 10 days. They came out of that COVID pause and did not play well at Clemson. Clemson had something to do with it, and they get that rematch again Saturday in Tallahassee.
But you don't think the Noles are good enough to get to the Final Four?
You know what? If there's a team right now that's not Gonzaga, Baylor, Iowa, Michigan that could do it, I think we're looking at it tonight because of their depth, their size. They have an offensive punch. They got a 5-star stud right there with the basketball right now, and a mismatched guy in number 1 in white that's going to be hard to defend, like really hard to defend.
Of course, the next thing for Leonard Hamilton to accomplish, likely on his way to the Hall of Fame, nice move there by the 5-star recruit Barnes, who couldn't finish, is to get to the Final Four. When I talked with him last night, I said I really felt bad for Leonard, for his team, because I thought they had a great chance to get to the Final Four last year and win the whole thing. And he's just, such a man of perspective. He said, we were much more worried about just keeping our players safe. There's a lot of suffering in the world right now. The fact that we couldn't go to the Final Four pales in comparison to a lot of other things that are happening. And he said, the challenge now is to get back there, and he believes he can do it with this team.
It's a remarkable coaching career for Leonard Hamilton when you consider he's had hard jobs. Oklahoma State was a hard job when he took it over. Miami's a hard job. Florida State, it was a hard job that he's built this thing into. I followed him. He was on the staff at Kentucky when I came after him on that staff. The same thing at Oklahoma State. No one on either campus ever said anything other than how good of a dude is Leonard Hamilton. And the kind of guy that if I had a son want to play college basketball, he'd be at the top of my list.
I guess we've mentioned that we're high in terms of our
elevation.
position on the court.
Yes. Yeah, clear that up.
Relative
Thank you.
to the court.
My wife's watching.
Does make you appreciate the usual broadcast positions. I already got a picture from Dan Schulman. Their position is no bargain down there in Waco.
They're in the
today
corner,
either.
aren't they? Like a slash
Yeah,
cam?
they're in the corner.
Is that what that's called?
No one cares, though. Just do your job, announcers. And don't tell us how rough the water is. Just get the ship in the harbor. Slazinski made the first free throw. And Williamson drops it in. They're trying to make another late push here. Down by 13 and bringing pressure with 3:20 to go here in downtown Louisville. Florida State goes on to win. They will have won 4 in a row head-to-head against Louisville for the first time ever in this rivalry. And remember, they were rivals for a long time in the old Metro Conference. Series dates back to 1968.
That Florida State switching defense, Sean, has just given Louisville fits in every matchup. Chris Mack's been in the ACC.
You know, Chris Mack said this morning, you can't run your offense. Nobody can against Florida State because they can switch everything and they just take you out of everything. Hard foul there by Gray, but it prevented a dunk. Raekwon's second foul. They're long in the double bonus. Florida State will be in the ACC network next Wednesday. That's a week from Wednesday. That'll be January 27th. Big matchup against their in-state rivals from Miami. If you don't have ACC network, go to getaccn.com for instant access.
Sean, there's nothing soft is allowed in that Florida State program. They've got grown men at all 10, 11 spots, however deep Leonard wants to go. He's putting a grown man in the game, and it is so cool to see the accountability that they have with each other on the defensive end of the floor in terms of how they call each other out. They have a truth about them on that end of the floor that's really rare, hard to find. It's really cool to watch.
Now they'll take their time on the offensive end with a 12-point lead and 2:20 to go. Louisville was in the top 25 last week. They were 16. They fell out after that loss in Miami. I think that Florida State's going to be in the top 25 next week. Scotty Barnes dropped it in. Of course, they have more action later this week. That game you mentioned on the weekend against Clemson in Tallahassee.
Sean, there are not 25 teams better in college basketball than the one we're watching tonight from Tallahassee. There's just no way. And as good as they were last year, by the middle of February, we might be looking at this team again saying, wait a minute, is this the team outside of the Big Four right now that is a Final Four threat? I think we're looking at it.
Williamson, tough shot. Fading toward the baseline. Made it with one hand. He has them back within 14. This is year 7 in the ACC for Louisville. Their worst home loss since they joined the ACC was 17 points to North Carolina. They don't lose here much. They're particularly good in conference play. Last 9 years, dating back to their last couple of years in the Big East, 58-16 in conference home games are the Louisville Cardinals, but staring at an L tonight.
The depth of Florida State is just it's really hard to handle. They don't rely on one guy to score. They can have an off night from their leading scorer like MJ Walker tonight and just keep on crushing people. And I think it all starts with this guy right here, Gray, his commitment to his body in the offseason, his commitment to his game overall.
It reminds you of Zion Williamson.
No, but
with the body type.
The body type, yeah. And he carries a jug of water around everywhere he goes since the season ended last year, again, to shift his mass from where it was to where it is now. It's evenly distributed, and very few college teams have a guy to put on a guy like number 1.
So that's how you shift body mass, walk around with some water?
Yes, the next time you and I are together, I expect you to have that bottle of that jug of water with you, and we'll just move some stuff around on you.
I'm in need of that. Shot clock buzzer expires. They got it off just in time, and then there's a foul at the rim. Quincy Ballard has come in. He's the 11th different Nole to play tonight, and there are more in off the bench as well. Of course, Anthony Polite, ordinarily part of their 11-man rotation, did not play tonight with a left shoulder injury.
The joy that Florida State came into the Yum Center last night about 7 o'clock, Sean, was just kind of reminded me that this talk about should we be playing, should we not be playing. Those guys love ball, man. You could just see the outlet they have, the joy they have for one another. They play for one another. There's an accountability within this program. It was just really good. I know we're 3,000 feet elevation tonight. It is so good to be back on an arena, live basketball in front of us, and seeing the joy that kids have in basketball in their eyes.
We talk a lot about culture in sports. Florida State has it. You mentioned it earlier. Gonzaga has it.
Yeah.
But Florida State certainly has an identity and a culture established by Coach Hamilton. Daniel Jack called for the foul for Florida State.
Leonard told me last night talking, he said, Jimmy, we go, I'm not going to say deeper than anybody else in our evaluation in terms of who we bring into our program, but no one goes deeper. Like, we touch everything. And I can't have a guy come into my program, Sean, that has outside influences and they have someone in their ear as opposed to me. He will not put up with it.
And you really, I can't remember the last time I heard about a Florida State basketball player getting in trouble.
No, I haven't. I have not. You're right. Well, they beat a good team tonight. They beat them soundly. Was not nearly as close as the score indicates. The game was never in doubt.
Justin Lindner's in the game for FSU. Travis Light, a couple of deep players on the end of the bench. Will Miles is also in there. And there's Travis Light. Deep on that bench. You could hear the cheer go up from the bench as he got a chance to play and made the most of it. His first points of the season. And it'll be the final points of the game. So Florida State has won 3 in a row, 5 out of 6. And they go to 8-2. 4-1 in conference. 1 game behind Virginia, 5-0 alone, top the ACC.
Sean, a bunch of grown men that have a mission of being that ACC champ again. Raekwon Gray leads the charge. Just an unbelievable big wide body with great skill, can drive it, shoot it, out-tough you, outwork you. And you put him in a ball screen that's 265 pounds, what are you going to do with him? Because he's dragging defenders out that aren't used to defending that part of the floor. And tonight, like I said, you don't have to rely on one guy. Tonight was Wilkes early, letting the 3-ball fly. Didn't have a huge offensive performance by Walker tonight. Other guys step up. Everybody defends. They have a belief in their system and how they play. And just a thorough rear kicking for